Kendrick Lamar's new album flopped. Sometimes I think the Avengers, when going back to reverse the snap and defeat Thanos, just messed up with the multiverse, and now we're living in a different dimension of reality. I mean, what is this internet mumbling now? Kendrick Lamar had 295,500 sales in the first week. Now that's not chart-topping, hitting 500,000 or 1,000,000 or just smashing records. And it may seem like a low number, but at the end of the day, it's all about perspective and how numbers are counted in today's world of streams and clicks in online media. Basically, Kendrick Lamar had 343 million clicks across streaming sites. Now, 343 million sounds like a much grander number than 295,000. And the reason for this is obviously because living in today's age, less and less people are buying albums. Less people are buying physical copies. Less people are downloading albums when they can just pay for a streaming subscription and just consume a lot more music at once for a lot cheaper. It just makes sense. That's simple economics. And according to Billboard, the 200 charts and how they rank it, basically, they have a unit of 3,750 ad-supported streams count as one singular unit of buying an album, or 1,250 paid subscription on demand official audio streams equivalent to one single unit. That's a lot of streams when you think about it. And obviously there's been different arguments and different reasoning for why the system is the way it is. Me personally, I think it needs to be manipulated yet again because I don't think it is a true reflection of how things work in the modern age. I mean, let's face it, if this was 20 years ago and you had, I don't know, let's chop the number down to say just 1 million people, right? Those people who want to go listen to Kendrick Lamar's album are going to go buy it because they have no other way to access it. If you can access the album and listen to it online, that's what you're going to do. You don't necessarily have to go and buy it. So I don't think it's a true reflection necessarily of the brand awareness and how many people have actually are aware of this album, that have listened to this album, and that have thought about this album. But hey, I mean, something has to be done so that we can connect 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, so we can talk about records, so we can compare to past artists, so we can see how releases are doing. So we have to do something to convert it all and to make it work and to make it line up in today's era. But it's all about perspective too. I mean, Future, who a lot of people are taunting his latest album and his drop, I Never Liked You, that charted the Billboard charts at #1, and it only earned 222,000 equivalent album units in its first week. So Kendrick Lamar has already beaten the #1 rap album release for this year. I mean, let's look at others. Jack Harlow, who dropped a doo-doo of an album, still had 115K in his first week. The man got paid. Pusha T, who actually dropped a very good album, only had 55K album sales in the first week. And those are some of the bigger releases of 2022 so far. I mean, when Kendrick dropped, he was #1 on the charts. He did the most numbers of this year of any other artist. I mean, yeah, obviously since then, Harry Styles has come along and just completely smashed records. He did 500,000 in the first week, the former One Direction member. But I mean, let's face it, it's Harry Styles. I mean, even I would question my sexuality with him. So what is success measured by in today's age? I mean, what does Kendrick have to do for people to greenlight this album and say, yeah, it was a success. He did well with it. I mean, some of you geniuses will argue, well, look at what Damn did. I mean, Damn did over 603 in its first week alone. Well, that was 5 years ago. I mean, Kendrick has gone cold turkey since then. It's not like he's been relevant within the music discussion. It's not like he's been on a bunch of features. He's been doing a bunch of different drops to like keep the hype going. I mean, the man just basically ghosted us, would appear every once in a while to do something, did a quick Super Bowl, give me that bag, did a quick appearance with Baby Keem, and that's about all we get from Kendrick. It's not like he went on this big marketing spree. He had huge advertising dollars. He was going around, doing podcasts, doing interviews, doing all kinds of features, dropping a couple different music videos, hyping up this release. I mean, the man just announced it in a tweet, comes out of nowhere, and here we go. You get new Kendrick for the first time in 5 years. The prodigal son of hip-hop has returned. And comparing Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to Damn, I mean, it's like apples to oranges. They're totally different albums in terms of what they're supposed to present, the ideas that are there, and the vibe that you get from them. I mean, Damn has a lot more replayability. Even I'll say that. But to me, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is one of those albums that is going to be timeless. We're going to look back on this 10 years from now and realize how far Kendrick was ahead of his time. And I think that was the purpose of this. The man just wanted to create a piece of art. And like I talked about in the live stream, this to me is something new. This is like surrealist rap. I mean, he's like the Salvador Dali of hip hop right now. This sort of stream of conscious type music. I mean, it's very dark, very heavy. We go on an emotional journey with Kendrick through this, and it has a great story and a great moral at the end of it too, of him ultimately freeing himself, of him recontextualizing who he is, him recontextualizing his relationship to the culture, to hip hop itself, and even recontextualizing other artists. But when you talk about issues like misogyny, when you talk about physical abuse, when you talk about dark, heavy violence, when you have these different tragic themes, generational trauma, slavery, rape, all of these things, it's not like it's something that you're going to sit there and replay 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, you have to be in the right mood, the right mind frame to digest and to consume this. It's not like Damn, which had singles that had that replay value. They're going to make people revisit it, that are going to share it, that are going to continue to push it. And Damn was definitely, I would say, more current with its time in terms of the production and the style. I mean, like I said before, this one just feels like almost it's a play that has been put into the art form of hip hop. I mean, it's very scaled back beats. It's very scaled back production, pianos, melodies, simplicity, gradual builds, using a lot of vocals and frequencing them so that they are implemented into the production and layered within it itself. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily fit into today's trends and what's happening today, but it's definitely a piece of music that will not age. If anything, it will get better like a fine wine with time. The more you digest, the more you revisit and think about it, because the layering is there. The depth to the lyricism is there. The symbolism is there. There's definitely enough to keep you coming back eventually over time to try to figure out some of the hidden meanings behind it of what he's doing and why he's doing it. And the thing about Kendrick is that he doesn't normally put a lot of features on his album. And features can definitely help in terms of stream play, in terms of people visiting it, in terms of getting support, getting attention, getting hype built for it. If you want to compare him to Future, look, Future put Drake on the album. You know, he had Lil Durk on the album. He had Lil Baby on the album. You know, he's got very relevant people who are going to do big numbers on their own. I mean, Future's highest streams and plays are obviously the Drake tracks that he put on. If Kendrick put Drake on this album, Kendrick could inflate the numbers as well. But that wasn't the point. I mean, Kendrick wasn't sitting here looking to have just these singles after singles with a bunch of dope features that's going to bring a bunch of people to it. No, this was more for Kendrick, this album. This album is Kendrick exploring what's really going on and trying to get to the root of the trauma and the pain and why he keeps hurting others, and how does he deal with this endless cycle, and how does he ultimately break it and free his spirit. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful concept. And then one other point too is how this was released. I mean, the physical CD didn't drop until the 27th of May. It's not like Kendrick released this and dropped like a bunch of bundles, some extras, some physical stuff to encourage sales, or even putting out vinyl with it to further encourage sales, right? It was an online-only release at the time, and that also moves the needle, and that also affects things. The way in which you release it, what your purpose is with the album, and just the flow of it and the nature of it in general. I mean, if his purpose was to get as many streams as possible, you know, to try to top Damn, then yeah, obviously he failed. But that wasn't it, and we all need to step back and look at the context of the situation and what goes into it. Anyways, I'm done for today's rant. I hope you guys liked just a little bit of the new style of video, something I'm experimenting with. If you did, please leave a comment down below, hit like. I'm open for any ideas, any other videos, any other topics you want to see me discuss and do. I'm going to start working this into my regular routine. Obviously, we still got a lot more reactions to do, a lot more music on the way as well. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. I love you. I'll catch you again.